listen to the language as though it's a continuous flow. We taught them the rules of how the words connect together, yeah, transition, assimilation, juncture, and so forth, yeah. And their listening comprehension went from about 35% up to about 65% in 6 weeks, yeah. So we taught them to listen not more quickly, but better in some sense, yeah. So listening fluency is another issue, yeah. That led me to think maybe there's a fluency that we should think about for reading. And of course there is. Fluency in reading means reading quickly? No, maybe not, but reading effectively, yeah. During the first session I was listening with one ear and I was reading with the other eyes, with my eyes, yeah. And I was going through an article on computers in EIL, English as an International Language. And in about 10 minutes I had read the article. And it's complete with underlines and everything that's interesting to me. Yeah, that's very, very fluent. Yeah, did I read every word? No. Did I look up every word I didn't understand? No. So fluent reading may have something to do, particularly in academics, with the idea of being able to skim and scan effectively. Yeah. So there's something to this idea of fluent reading as well.
This is similar to simultaneous interpretation.
Yeah. If I'm reading a novel, that's a different thing. I'm going to want to read every word. If I'm reading Dickens, I read it with great gusto and I follow every line and so forth. And I get ideas and I stop and I think. That's a different kind of reading. And there's fluency there too. You can do it well or you can do it poorly. What about writing? Is there fluency in writing? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When I was in high school, the most terrifying thing in the world to me was a piece of paper, blank piece of paper. The teachers would say, write a composition on blah, 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 blah. You have 1 hour. And I was terrified. And in 1 hour, I would produce half a page. Yeah? I was not very fluent. Yeah? But at some point, I learned how to be fluent in writing. And since then, I have written almost 30 books, 300 articles. Something changed. And there's something of fluency in that. It has to do with fluency in writing, with getting over the idea of starting with the first word and writing to the last word, and making sure everything's correct as you go. Writing, at least in my experience, is not that way. It's like this. Get it on paper, then start to straighten it out. So to me, fluent writing is basically about fluent reading. You get it on paper, and then you proofread, and you proofread, and you proofread, and you proofread. And it gets better and better and better and better. Then you send it to the journal, and they give you feedback, and you revise, 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 revise. So good writing is more about revision. And if you can get that idea across to your students, that may help them to become more fluent. Not so afraid of the page, the blank page. Yeah? So my point is that fluency may be about all 4 skills, and maybe we should think about those issues as well. Yeah? How can we actually help our students become more fluent? Well, first of all, we have to change their perceptions of what fluency is. We have to explain it to them, you know. Fluency is not about speed, yeah? And it's not about being error-free, yeah? It's not perfection. Nobody's perfect. And you can do those things by overtly saying, when you want to be fluent, slow down. For example, if I'm going to speak French, the first thing I think is slow down. And then I think, bon, qu'est-ce que je voudrais dire? And I'm speaking slowly and I'm giving myself time to think. Yeah. If a student thinks that they have to speak quickly, they're going to go, well, I think it's time to, and they can't think, they can't produce, and they can't pronounce, they can't do anything right. Yeah. So tell them to slow down. Tell them not to worry about errors. They're going to happen. They can correct them, or they can go past them. They can see if the message was understood or not. That's the important thing. Yeah. The negotiation is more important. Get it out there. Try it. Don't worry about perfection. But it's also important to motivate the students to become fluent.